Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Carroll with Mommy&Me. I'm so glad to have you here with me. And listen, I have something very exciting to share with you all. Over the last several weeks, we have been talking to our friend, Miss Kimberly Yap. She is a registered nurse and she is also a menstrual cycle advocate and expert. And hopefully, you have been watching these videos and learning something and helping your daughters to learn as well. Well, if you have watched those videos, then you know that Kimberly has written a very timely and educational book. And so today, I decided that it was important for us to look at the book. So, guys, I got the book. I'm super excited about it. It is called What is Happening Inside My Body? The Growing Girls Period Tracker Tips and Journal. First of all, I'm going to put the link here. Go to Amazon and grab the book. You can also go to her website at Kimberly Yap, YHAP, KimberlyYap.com to connect with her to get more information. But this is the book. And I've already started my daughter going through the book. And if I'm honest, this is beneficial to women of all ages because most of the time, most of us did not learn how to track our period. The only thing that I learned about tracking was count 28 days. And so last year, that's what I began to talk to my daughter about 28 days. That's all the information I really had as far as tracking or keeping up with the cycle. I know that there are things that you feel, but I did not know how important it was for us to pay attention to how you feel, what day you feel it, and how consistent that is. And so I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but I want you to just we're going to go through, you see these tabs, y'all? We're going to go through this book and I'm going to tell you what the deal is. So first and foremost, Kimberly begins with a very important story, and it's called the Who Cares story. And so this story talks about how valuable you are, how valuable a young girl is to God. And she tells the story of the woman with the issue of blood and how important it was to Jesus that this woman be healed. Okay. And when my daughter was reading the story, we read it together. She read it out loud to me. And she was reading, and I had already read it, so I understood. And just because of some of the words, I understood the story. But then it clicked for her about halfway through. And she was like, oh, this is the woman from the Bible. Because Kimberly tells the story, this is a young woman, and she's dealing with a blood issue. She's dealing with a bleeding issue. Okay. So that's top tier right there. Talking about how important we are, how important a young girl is, even though she's bleeding and the community sets her aside, that God is still concerned about her and God cares about how she feels in those times. That's top tier. Okay. So then she goes through and she begins to share just some details, some details about what your period might look like, how the white flow looks versus the red flow. And then she gets into the sample tracker. Okay. Do you see this? Do you see how detailed this is? So it says my period journal. Now this is a sample of how to fill it out. And on this side, it says the months of the year, and then across the top are just numbers. And the numbers will tell you when did I have my period. So clearly, and there's a key down here. So red stands for the actual period days, and you can put numbers. So for example, if it's brown, you put a 1. If it's very light and red, you put a 2. If it's a little bit light, so we have very light, light, moderate, heavy, and very heavy. And you can write numbers according to that, and you color it in red. Okay. Then the yellow is when you have just mucus. And so if there is just that white mucus, the cervical fluid, that's when you you color that in as yellow. And then the blue is there's no mucus days, no period, nothing. Okay. So most of your time you're going to be blue, right? And then you fill in those other days, and you do it every month. Now, the wonderful thing about this book is that she has given you not only days, or let me show you the blank ones. Here it is. The blank pages to fill in by month, but then she also has given you what she calls a symptom tracker, okay, to align. So you would put the month and the year, okay, and then you will also do the same thing on your period journal already has the months there, but you will put the year, and then you will you will connect your symptoms with whatever month of whatever year, and see how your body is changing, how it is the same. I mean, I love this because the symptom tracker, it says it gives you can do anxious or crying, bloating, craving sweets, depressed, elated, fatigued, headaches, insomnia, and there's even other where you can write in whatever you might be feeling that is specific to you on these days. And so you want to keep track of, oh, I'm feeling something at the first day of my period. What do I feel? I feel down. I feel pain. You write those things down. One of the things that Kimberly taught us last month was that what's going on the inside of your body, or what you see on the outside, I should say, is representative of what's happening inside. So if I'm feeling like my skin is really dry, or even that my vaginal area is very dry, there's something that is happening internally that's causing it to show up externally. And that's something that you may need to speak with your doctor about. All right. So, although this book is for young girls because it's for those early years where you're learning, let me just say, Mom, if you are having challenges with your cycle, if your cycle is not showing up, that's a problem. If you are having very dramatic emotional changes, that's an issue, and you may need to get that checked out, and you may need some medical support in that area. Okay. So the other thing that she gives us is a mood period and mood tracker. And on this one, it looks very similar to just the period tracker, but it has emotions, and it says, so at the top, you'll track where your period is. So if you start your period on day 1, and then you put how you feel. Okay, you put all across, you go across your period, and then your mucus, and then whatever. And then you go down and you say how I felt on each one of those days. So for example, it says I feel happy, energetic, anxious, angry, depressed, tired, headache, sleeping or cannot sleep, breast pain, craving sweets. I fought with my family. What? Okay, so these are all awesome things So that's the trackers. But look at this, y'all. These pages are the journal pages. And at the top of these pages, it says, one says, I am grateful for my menstrual cycle because. Now, I don't know about you, but when I looked at that, I said, say what? Who's grateful for a menstrual cycle? And then on the other page, it says, I don't like it when my period. Okay, then your daughter can read or write in how she feels about those two situations. But, I'm like, who's grateful for a menstrual cycle? But like we said, our menstrual cycle can help us to know what's happening inside of our body. And that is so, so important. So important. And so we talked about the symptom tracker. The other thing is, so this journal and tracker will go for 3 years. You can write down the information for 3 whole years. And I really feel like that's an amazing tool where if you're feeling something that's unusual, you can go back and say, you know what? This is how I was feeling on the first day of the month, or this is how I was feeling on the third day of my period, and you can begin to identify ups and downs and anything in between related to your physical health and your mental health. Hello. All right. And so the other thing that happens in these pages is Kimberly gives us a real detailed with pictures to kind of talk about what's happening inside the body. Okay, talking about the hormones, talking about the important parts of your cycle. What are these hormones? What is the blueprint? Why is it happening? What does it look like? How it sends messages to the brain, to the body, and how to respond. And it tells you about the follicular and the fallopian tubes, the estrogen. She gives you everything, and she has amazing pictures within the book. Okay. And then I know I'm like, keep saying, and then, because there's so much more. Listen, remember I said, we talked about how what's happening in your vaginal area is a sign that of something that may be going on internally. Kimberly gives us some tips, vaginal care tips during our cycle, or, during our cycle and specifically during our period. Because, FYI, the menstrual cycle is not the same as your period. Your period is a part of your menstrual cycle. And I'm saying that because it didn't click with me. I didn't know. Maybe y'all knew. Y'all smarter than me, and I'm okay with that. So one of the things she says to do is wear cotton underwear, because cotton underwear allows air in and absorbs wetness from sweat and urine, and it keeps you dry. Avoid synthetic underwear because it can trap moisture and warmth, allowing harmful bacteria and bugs to grow. So this is important for us to know, that cotton is better for us and for our vaginal health. Because I know sometimes, the girlies, we want to wear the lace and the silk and all those kind of things. But, maybe there's a specific time we can wear those things, but in general, we need to be wearing some cotton underwear. And there's plenty of cute ones out there. So, boom. So then on white flow days, you may feel a little wetter than usual and may feel uncomfortable. So use cotton disposable panty liners. Avoid scented panty liners, as they may cause you to itch, bruise, and feel sore. Y'all. So there's a brand out there in Honey Pot. I don't know if y'all use Honey Pot, but I was a one and done with them, because I got I think it was the mint. It had a scent to it, y'all. I put that thing on. I felt like I was burning from the inside out. When I tell you, I could not get myself together and get back home quick enough and change my clothes. Hello. Because why are we doing that to the vaginal area? No. Okay, red flow days. On red flow days, you will need these special pads, and underwear to prevent your clothes from being soiled. Disposable menstrual cotton pads, of course, disposable panty liners, washable period panties and swimsuit if you're using that, and washable period pads. So she's giving you everything that you need in order to be healthy. She also shares some red flags, like what you need to know and when it's time to go to the doctor. If you have a history, a family history of bleeding disorders, you should go to the doctor. If you have a period of only 1 or 2 days, if you're bleeding brown for more than 2 or 3 days, if you have a very heavy bleed. So there are other things that are in here, reasons to go to the doctor. She even has a pain scale in here. And then she goes into meal plans. I mean, she's saying here are some things that you should eat and you can keep track of it. Eat the things that are going to make you well. Of course, we know that we have certain cravings, maybe. It says, feed my ovaries. Make sure to eat a protein at every meal. Okay. And, if you're not big on eating meat as your protein, you may want to try, some beans. There are a lot of things out there that can help you. Maybe even tofu, which is a high source of protein as well, but it gives you what you need. And so, ladies, I want mommies, daughters, go to Amazon and pick up this book. It's called The Growing Girls Period Tracker Tips and Journals. It's by Kimberly Yap, YHAP. This is a wonderful and awesome tool for your tween daughters. If your daughter has already started her period, if she is sort of in that age range, begin to have these conversations, because even with my daughter, there's conversations that I had before and I thought that we had talked about it. She said we didn't, and that's fine. I'm like, okay, maybe it's been so long that she does not remember, and that's okay. But let's have these conversations with our daughters. Our moms may not have given us the information that we needed, except for the basics, but they did what they could do. And now, because we know more, we have to do more to equip our daughters so they can then equip our granddaughters, right? So I want you guys to go out and grab this book and let me know when you get it. Let me know. Come back to this post and let me know when you're going to get it. Okay. Thank y'all so much. Again, this is Tanisha Carroll with Mommy&Me on assignment, and we are here supporting our friend and sister Kimberly Yap with her book, The Growing Girls Journal and a Period Tracker. This is a tool that every tween and teenager should have, and mom, you can benefit too. So take care, and I will see you again real soon.